Lagos Business School, Pan-Atlantic University.
Ensuring society remains at peace. Traditionally, these two things have been kept as two dichotomous ways to go. If you were concerned about social problems, you become an NGO, and if you are concerned about making money, you're a hardcore businessman. However, today, we're going to show you that both worlds can be reconciled, that you can make a lot of money, and indeed a lot more money than going business as usual, where we focus only on financial returns, which is not a sustainable way to go. The balanced scorecard that reminds us to focus on learning and developing staff, in addition to customer needs, besides financial returns, helps us think a little bit more widely. It does not include the importance of society, other stakeholders. And this is what we're here about today. We're trying to show you that considering societal problems can, rather than decrease your profitability, increase it. So, as we said before, the world powers, the G7, the UN, the strongest business leaders around the world, are all convening in New York during these days to talk about this. I just returned from a series of UN meetings, and it was all about this. And I smiled to myself thinking, for once, Africa is in the forefront. We're already doing this. Okay, so business deans and business leaders, as well as world leaders, are convening to talk about transforming the way businesses are done to ensure that they are acting as a force for good. The reason being that we're not the only country under the threat of terrorism, it's a global issue. There's practically no country in Africa or in the rest of the world that's not suffering from the consequences of letting people who are underprivileged continue unattended. Again, as I said before, doing good is good for business, and that's good news, because that way it helps, we have an incentive to really see how we can try to solve some of the pressing social problems around us. And the consequence of this is that we'll have a more inclusive growth, because people will have earning power, be able to patronize our goods more, and also more people will be contributing to the national economy rather than having just a few people benefiting from the national economy or contributing to it, while the others act as liabilities. So basically, we're here to talk about changing society from what it is to what we want it to be. How we can turn potential liabilities who currently plague our streets into assets. I have a few examples to share with you, and they're very down to earth and very commonsensical. I used to be a banker before I joined LBS, and I know how much money we spent on security, especially in the branches that were located in the middle of Lagos, Marina, and all these places. And I thought to myself, if all the banks decided to just contribute a quota and start a proper training school for the area boys in the vicinity, and then get them gainfully engaged to protect the banks, I believe that the amount of money banks spend on security will reduce as usual, I had a feasibility study, and the results were amazing. I thought we didn't have public toilets, but indeed we do. You don't want to know what they look like because they're never clean. And usually it's just one facility in some dingy part of town. And to my surprise, she said to me that she found out that they make between 40 to 50,000 naira daily. One dirty facility. And so she came up with this idea of having 12 facilities, 6 for women, 6 for men, in toilets and showers, well put together in terms of having the right things. For me, these are huge business opportunities that are waiting to be tapped and at the same time save lives and prevent death. The next example are BRT buses. Another set of students decided to look into how to make the BRT system even more efficient. And we're shocked to find out that over 60% of those buses that were launched less than 2 years ago are all in bad condition. And getting them repaired had so far been a hopeless feat. And I thought to myself, if those buses, if the operators, the drivers of those buses were told that the buses will become theirs to operate after 4 years, I am sure those buses will be in perfect condition, will still be in perfect condition by now. Because government property is nobody's property, nobody cares for it or about it. And it reminded me of one of the asset schemes of one of the students who we'll be reviewing in a few minutes. They have come up with a business model where they can empower people who otherwise roam the streets. So they have bought grinding machines that cost about 45,000, and they get the operator to give them a daily return of about 3.5 daily, and as soon as the money, the amounts, the cost of the assets, and 30% margin is achieved, the asset becomes, the operator becomes the owner of the asset, and he becomes an entrepreneur in his own right. And they started out with 3, they started a pilot with 3 different individuals, and it was hugely successful. And so they're ramping up to do this with more people. Now, as I finish, I'd like to remind us that we do have choices. We're here today, listening, and we can actually leave here thinking, well, you know, I have too many things to think about, I'll do nothing. That's a choice, but then we pay the price. We can also do something and enjoy the reward, which is having better businesses, more sustainable businesses, a better quality of life, a better society, and ultimately create a better world. My hope is that the knowledge we're going to try to pass across today through the different speakers and the business presentations we will have will not just be informative, but transformative. Meaning that we're going to go out and try to see how we can adapt our existing businesses to actually serve society. Because business was originally created to serve society till it became derailed by capitalism, which is failing, and this failure is being acknowledged not just by individuals but by world leaders, hence the call to turn business into a force for good or an agent for world benefit. And so I'd like to summarize to say that we need to see business as a means to transform lives. And I remind you here that business is not about having, for those who are thinking of starting, it's not about how much money you have. Because as I said before, our MBA started with just 5,000 naira. Presenting today will be 3 categories of MBAs: the full-time MBAs, the executive MBAs, which include the modular MBA as well as the regular executive program. For the other, the great ideas which they'll be sharing with you, and as investors, you can either choose to invest or replicate.
Hi, my name is Deja Guadi, and myself and my partner, Yemi Adedayo, we're putting together a platform that connects auto technicians with people who have cars. These days, a lot of people are buying more sophisticated vehicles with electronic devices and so many things that are inbuilt into their cars. The last thing you want to do is take those cars to people who are not skilled, who don't have the ability to repair it properly. And so what this platform is going to do is to put together and bring technicians, auto technicians that are good with what they are doing, that are good with their trade, and put them on a platform where they can be accessed by several millions of people who drive cars, over 7 million cars in our country today, and 70% of which are not brand new. So the platform is going to bring together the auto technicians and bring together the people who have these cars, who are looking for competent people to help them repair their cars and bring them together in a way that they can benefit from each other. How do we make money? We make money by providing priority ranking services, advertising on the website, on the platform, okay? And we can also ask people to pay a sign-up fee for for signing them on the platform. The platform is going to make an impact in the lives of these auto technicians because some of these people would never have had any other way to have access to people who can patronize their business. And so what the platform does is that it connects the auto technicians and people who are able to take advantage of their service, brings them together in a way that they can benefit from each other. With an investment of less than 1.5 million naira, the business will break even in less than 2 years, providing a lot of value to the investor as well as those that are promoting the entity. I believe that this is going to be a fantastic opportunity for anyone to take advantage of, and I look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Okay, my name is John Akura, co-founder Blue Age Logistics. We want to solve the problem of transportation by moving those who don't have cars from their homes to where they could take buses to their various destinations using tricycle. Tricycle is a very profitable business because you have profit margins of up to 70%. Majority of the locations where the people there don't own cars are high density areas. Think about Agege, Ojodu, these residences where you have about 3,000 people without cars. A tricycle could be able to make about 5,000 naira a day. And in order to encourage the people who are operating this tricycle, we'll give them a rebate of 1,500 for fueling and also as stipends. That solves the problem of unemployment by making them gainfully employed and not having to engage in social vices. Our business model is based on the fact that you buy a tricycle at 450,000 naira, you give it to operators who can operate it, and you make about 3,500 naira daily. By month 4, we would have recovered all our money back. Now, we use the tricycle for additional 5 months, which gives us purely profit because we've already recouped our investment. On the 9th month, what we intend to do as a way of rewarding those who are tricycle operators is to give them the tricycle so that they themselves could start operating the tricycle. Eventually, what we hope to do is to become a transport management company whereby what we do is to solicit people to buy a tricycle and give it to us to manage on their behalf. And that is why we are appealing to investors, those who have money, instead of putting it in their fixed deposit or in savings, which cannot give them profit margins of 70%, which is what this business is promising, to come and invest in our business.
Hello, I'm Irene Walby.
And I'm Vivian Owaje. We're the founders of Empowerment Concepts.
Empowerment Concept is a business that aims to empower the uneducated and unemployed people in our society by providing them with income-generating assets as a steady means of livelihood. We operate on a Chinese proverb that states, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach him how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime.
Our business model entails purchasing assets and leasing them out to operators. These operators are expected to remit funds weekly over a period of 2 to 3 months. Because these assets are not so expensive, the payback period is short. At the end of the period, a cost plus a margin of about 30% is paid back by the operators and the assets become theirs. In the pilot session, we were able to give out 3 machines and the repayment has been good.
We now want to expand our business to have at least 10 customers in each 3-month cycle. This will increase the number of lives we're impacting and also our profitability level.
We invite investors to partner with us to enjoy good returns on their investment while enjoying the fulfillment of having impacted lives positively.
Thank you.
My name is Okoho Etim. I'm the founder of Started Africa. Started Africa is a fundraising platform to enable micro and startup businesses get funding for their entrepreneurial drives. The business model is quite simple. Started Africa makes money from the commissions that it gets from helping the small businesses and micro businesses raise funds. Currently, we have close to 5,000 people signed up on this platform, and we expect it to grow with the execution of certain projects we've planned out to, and we welcome investors to support the vision we have in executing Started Africa.
My name is Kene Ene. I'm Obi Alon. We are co-founders of Beauty with a Purpose. Beauty with a Purpose is a business set up to address the social problem of unemployment in women. We have identified that many women go into a lot of social vices in the bid to earn a living. At Beauty with a Purpose, we are setting up a skills acquisition business where we will teach women how to braid hair, bead clothing, and also style hair.
We are going to teach women how to braid hair and bead clothes. Our business model is very simple. We are going to take in fee-paying students. We expect that with 40 students paying 30,000 Naira, we'll break even in a year. We are also going to have a work-study program for students who cannot afford this fee. They will receive the training and work in our own salon to provide services to our own clients. Another income stream will be training workers for fashion houses and salons on customer service and etiquette. We will also be a source of well-trained staff for other participants in the industry because many of these fashion houses and salons find it difficult to get well-trained staff. We will provide that service at a fee.
Invest in this business and you get good return on your investment. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Glenn Olojaye. I'm the Managing Director of Entox Nigeria Limited. At Entox, our mission is very clear, and that is to provide affordable tissue paper to our consumers in a sustainable manner. For us, we have decided that our business must meet 3 key sustainability criteria, and we are very confident that, the business is on course. 1 is environmental sustainability criteria. Secondly is social sustainability criteria. And the 3rd one is economic sustainability. At Entox, the options available to us is either to use virgin paper to produce tissue papers, or we go for recycled papers. Because of the environmental implication of using virgin paper, we have decided to go for the use of recycled paper to produce our tissue paper. Again, if we decide to go for virgin paper, we'll have to use a major component, a major raw material, which is chlorine-based bleaches. And chlorine-based bleaches is deemed to be harmful to the environment. So for us, it's a no-go area. So we have decided that we want to go the way of recycled paper. Then looking at the business from social sustainability angle, in Africa, the family system is such that for every employee, there are about 4 to 5 dependents. So we tend to employ about 10 to 15 employees, for a start. And we'll not just be reaching the lives of those 10 or 15 employees, we'll be reaching their dependents, which we estimate to be between 50 to 60 people. So, that way we'll be having multiplier effect on our immediate society. Again, looking at our business from impact investment angle, We intend to give one tissue paper to motherless babies for every 10 sold. So this is one of the ways we also intend to reach our immediate environment. Then lastly, looking at it from economic sustainability angle, the truth is that there is no way we can sustain the business from environmental angle or from social angle if the business is not economically viable. Looking at the numbers, the numbers are really very good. There is a compelling business case for us to go into this project. For a 20 million naira capex requirement for a start, we are looking at return on equity of about 48% and return on asset of about 30%. IRR, internal rate of return of 161% and MPV of 98 million over a period of 5 years. You can't get this kind of return anywhere. Other compelling factors for this business. One, in Nigeria, the estimated demand for tissue paper is about 950 million tons per annum. Meanwhile, the local production capacity is just 150 million. So there is a gap to be filled. And this is where we also come in. In addition to that, Nigeria is the fastest growing economy in Africa and the largest economy in Africa. So with all these, very positive factors, I invite investors to be part of this great opportunity.
We think that business schools have an important role to play in shaping how entrepreneurship gets done. Many people who think about entrepreneurship, at least in this part of the world, see it sometimes as opportunism. Take advantage of an opportunity, do what you can, make money, and move on. But there's a lot of thinking around succeeding as a venture. And part of the thinking also implies looking at what market need one needs to solve, and how that need will improve the lives of the target customer. And so we're happy to host this kind of encounter because we think that we can brainstorm together and learn from each other in terms of how to achieve this. Also, another reason why I think it's particularly exciting that MBA students of Lagos Business School are involved in this fair is because I don't know if you've seen the current Financial Times rankings for MBA programs, the 2015 version. One of the results of the survey they carried out showed that recently MBA students graduating from top business schools who started a business right after the MBA were making more money than MBA students who passed through the same business school and went to the corporate world. They seem to be shocked about that. We have not carried out a similar study yet in Nigeria, at least with Lagos Business School, to be sure whether that is happening. But for now, one trend we see is that at least 30% of our student population currently has a startup or is planning to engage in a startup, and that a good number of them actually end up starting these businesses and do well. So it means that if you want to start a business, an MBA can actually help you succeed in that business. I'm not marketing the MBA now, but I'm just highlighting something that the study correctly says. For those of you that don't know, the MBA program of the Lagos Business School is one of the top MBA programs in Africa, and we're hoping to be one of the top MBA programs in the emerging market space, hopefully in years to come.
In trying to solve a problem, you can actually become very wealthy. And you can actually become very wealthy solving a problem and then doing it sustainably well. And so basically, what you would see was what I just taught, which is the principle of value creation. I think that for many years, people looked at Africa and thought of Africa as this poor continent that was so blessed. And we were told that wealth creation was going to be the solution to poverty alleviation. Unfortunately, we were told half the story. And when you think about wealth creation, It's basically what has caused many people in Africa to seek to create so much wealth for themselves, but sometimes forget to create value. As you've seen, we have seen many rich people emerge from the shores of Africa, and yet Africa has become literally a poorer continent as the years have gone by. And so basically, I want to quickly just use this analogy that I hope that I would find 5 people who can collaborate with me on this. Can I find 5 people who will come on stage, please? Daniel, and 4 others, please volunteer. Okay, that's 2. I need 3 more people. I want to show you something that I hope that if everyone understood, it will be able to, that's 3. I need 2 more people. If you would be kind enough, 2 more people. 3, 4. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Basically what I want to show you is what I call the value creation process, or the value creation chain. Think about it this way. Every time a solution is found to a problem, value is created. So what's your name? No, I didn't know. Thank you very much. What's your name? So what's this? Oh, come on, people, talk to me. All right, so this is solution. Every time solution is created, value is created. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So every time solution is created, value is created. Fantastic. Every time value is created, it cannot be destroyed. It will be rewarded with wealth. It may not be rewarded at the time that it was created. It may not be rewarded at the place it was created, but it will be rewarded. And it will be rewarded with wealth. So that every time value is created, wealth is created. So what's this? What's this? If you can maintain, manage, and multiply this wealth, it will turn to prosperity. You get it? So this is solution, value, wealth, and prosperity. Okay, fantastic. But let us quickly understand that the value that is placed on this solution is dependent, nobody is my program, my pastoral assistant, is dependent on the problem that this solution can cause to value. So what is this? All right? Every time solution can make a problem bow, it will create what? And then, and ultimately. But every time a problem exists, and rather than solve the problem, the people begin to look at the problem and complain about the problem and comment about the problem, but not contribute to solving the problem. And they begin to say, well, you know, our government is not doing well. Why? Because this problem exists. Every time a problem exists, the poor people who cannot eat have affordable food, no access to health care, people living without shelter. Every time a problem exists and there is no solution, what happens? Say with me. No value. What happens? No wealth. What happens? No. Prosperity becomes poverty. So you will find out that as with every poor country, there is an abundance of problems. True or false? delay until that container goes into demurrage. And I get paid. So do you see that it is possible for me to create wealth but not create value? You see that it's possible. But it is impossible for me to create value and not create wealth. Which is why wealth creation, like I said, is only a little portion of the problem. In fact, in many cases, wealth creation can create a great part of the problem. What we need to focus on is value creation. Because the only way you can create value is by solving a problem. And every time you solve a problem, then you not only create value, you tend to be able to create over a long period of time. So here is what? Problem, and here is what? No. So here is problem, and to be able to break the back of poverty, what do you do? What do you do? Okay, how do you do it? Solve a problem. The moment you solve a problem, what happens next? Then what happens next? Then what happens next? Poverty becomes prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how we are going to solve the African challenge. The problem of poverty will become history as solution providers emerge all across the African continent, all across Nigeria. Please put your hands together. If you do not secure those around you, your own prosperity will not be secure. In other words, the security of your prosperity is in the prosperity of others. I once read in a magazine last week that when your neighbor is hungry, your chicken is not safe. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. And the point is that, in a sense, it's not wise for you to become the sole shining light of success amongst an abundance of an impoverished lot. Let me put it in a way that I can help you understand, and then I leave you alone. In an abundance of an impoverished lot, a privileged few are an endangered species. And so one thing for us to think about is, yes, how can I make money? And how can I give my children the advantage? And it is true, by becoming rich and successful, you will have many other options in life. But unfortunately, this is what happens. When we try to send our children to schools, but don't care how other children are doing in schools, the first thing you will realize is that those other children will not be able to learn, and therefore they might need to beg, borrow, and steal. The question will be from who? They don't steal from people who don't have. They're going to steal from those who do. And so it is wise for you to not only build your children to succeed, that will make them valuable. But if you don't build the society that your children will be valuable in, you will make them vulnerable to attack. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. So in your own enlightened self-interest, it is better that you succeed, but it's more important that you build a succeeding society. And this is what the entire premise of social business is about. Is how do we succeed by building a society that succeeds? How do we succeed by building a society that succeeds?
When you push an idea with a very strong social message to impact life, change the community, obviously things go better for you. This is just a summary of what the goal is all about. Talking about a concept that started in 2012. What I just told about that. The initiative is designed mainly as a CSR than just commercial benefit. And when they started this thing, it was about, we sell white dolls, but we still asking ourselves, what are the Nigerian child picking from these dolls? They were quite profitable, huge in sales, turnover was beautiful. But then, as a company, as you grow, you ask yourself, let's start making an impact. Even as small as the child is, they play with these dolls at a very tender age, and they need to believe that for me to be beautiful, I have to come with the white skin. And we started this initiative with the hope that while we're making impact, social values, it will actually rub off on our bottom line. This is this is what we do today. Why I titled this, it's joy, 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 is because I'm going to find more joy in this kind of projects. Before now, we're doing businesses that we felt it's all about profit. It's all about the numbers. How do they add up? We weren't thinking plain global. We never thought we would be getting calls from the UK. How do we stock your product? From the US. How do we get to meet you? But because we had an idea that wanted to give enough joy to the less privileged, these kids you see here are all wonderful, bright children. And one thing about this thing is this. When you get to talk with them, this is actually sitting very far remote part of Lagos, Ikorodu. The only access to the community that goes to this school is a wooden bridge. I need to pay a fee to cross this bridge each time I go to inspect this project. But the good thing about it is that in all of these things that others will probably think it's struggle, it gave me joy. And in the joy, it brought about more profit, more exposure, more relevance in your operations. Basically, I just want to say that I'm a businessman. It's been all about how much money can you make in your business. But not only we started chasing value, what we have today never came to be. So this is actually what I would say about this. But I want to understand that in all we do, the primary and the most important thing we should look at is how our business will add and make social impact that's necessary. Thank you.
But now, we now have domestico.com.ng. We started the business from LBS. LBS was the one that kind of built the business for me. Because before I came to Lagos Business School, I've always been doing different kinds of businesses now. A lot of them, in fact, I would say I should just hustle, just make money and spend the money. And every other thing, I'll supply chemicals, nylon, anything that could be supplied. In fact, I just knew how to just make one night to come to Naira. But I wasn't going anywhere else, so I decided to just come to Lagos Business School. So now, I always start my speeches by asking the question, if you're giving 5,000 Naira by a very wicked investor that require you to give him back 5,000 Naira every month, what would you possibly do with that money to kind of feed with that money and pay him back? But now I'll ask you another question. How would you use 25,000 Naira to make 7 million Naira a month sitting in your house without meeting anybody? How would you do that? Your only expenses to get sales is of 7 million Naira averagely each month. You spend 25,000 Naira. Now I'll tell you how. The school offers some values. You know when they always say about businesses, you must offer a value and you must find a solution to solve. You must solve a solution to try and solve a problem. Now if you look all around you in Ajah, you'd find furniture makers and a lot of empty lands, and people are moving to new houses, and people are renting new houses, buying new furniture. So and now I wanted to start a business. That was the reason I came to Lagos Business School, but I didn't know exactly. But all I knew that this was the best time to start a business because of everything that was available. We had the internet, we had mobile phones, we had fast internet connections now. In fact, we even had ATM, online transfer, online payments. And I read a lot of books talk about, a lot of books abroad about how you can start a business and how most businesses online. So that's okay, the online business is where it's working, but what would really work online?
You know, one of our strongest values that we've tried to espouse since the beginning of Lagos Business School is seeing management more as a service to society than as a way to benefit self. When we started preaching this message from the start of Lagos Business School, a lot of people, so this was 91, a lot of people were, what are you guys talking about? We first of all have to fill our tummies before we can then think about what it is that's happening in society. So it was an idea that not very many people shared, but when they came here and they tried to understand what we were doing and realize what we were doing, more and more people began to buy into that idea.
Lagos Business School, Pan Atlantic University.